That feeling of inferiority stuck with him throughout his youth, and when he entered Hollywood, the pressure to look good only increased. A producer once frankly said, "You have acting talent, but your face lacks the perfection that audiences expect." In 1974, Clifton disappeared from the screen for nearly half a year to renew himself. When he returned on an evening TV show, many were surprised to see that his chin was much slimmer. His smile also became more even and... Do you think plastic surgery helps stars become more confident and stand out? If you think yes, comment number 1. If you think no, comment number 0. Don't forget to like the video and click sub to support the channel to create more interesting content. The woman who changed her nose changed her destiny. They call her the woman with the career nose. Not because of her beauty, but because of the rumors that have never stopped since 1970. Melba Moore, a famous Broadway singer, Tony Award winner, stood next to the most famous stars of the era. But behind the red velvet curtain, her life was a series of days of fighting prejudice, disappointment, and invisible pressure from the Hollywood gaze. When Melba was young, she dreamed of being in the spotlight, known to a national audience. Her chance seemed to come when she was invited to audition for a new sitcom on national television. But during her first meeting with the director, a cold sentence poured cold water on that desire. "You have talent, but your face is not suitable for national broadcasting." 3 weeks later, everyone was surprised to see a clear change in Melba's face. Her nose was higher, slimmer, and more standard. Soon, she got the role. Her career took off. The role was the turning point that catapulted Melba to stardom. But at the same time, rumors and scrutiny began to follow her. In a 1985 interview, an old friend, also a famous singer, revealed a haunting moment. Melba sat silently in her dressing room, gently touched her new nose, and sighed softly. "I wish I didn't have to change my face to be myself." That sentence haunted that friend, and later made many fans think. They said that from the moment Melba appeared with her new face, something in her changed. Not her voice, not her demeanor, but her eyes. The eyes that were once full of emotion, that told her life story through each melody, now seemed more distant, more lost. It was as if Melba herself was finding herself in a form she no longer fully recognized. People ask, does she regret it? Melba never answered, but in an interview in the late 90s, when asked about beauty, she simply said, "True beauty is when you don't need permission to be yourself." Perhaps she made the right choice to survive in a harsh world. But the audience, especially the older generation, still achingly remembers the original face, a face that never had to compromise. And sometimes we wonder, with such a voice, is it necessary to change the face? Billy Preston, who played for the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and is considered the soul of the rebellious funk soul of the 1920s, has a little-known story behind the bright spotlight. In 1972, a serious car accident in Los Angeles nearly took his life, and at the same time took away the face that audiences loved. Before that, Billy was a street performer with curly hair, a mischievous smile, and wild, free eyes. That image became the symbol of a generation of passionate and talented artists. After the accident, Billy disappeared from television and the stage for nearly a year. When he returned to performing in 1973, many fans were shocked to see a completely new look. His cheekbones were hollow, his jaw was sharper, and his nose had been refined in a way that was very different from his previous appearance. A lighting technician who worked with him recalled that Billy would sit in front of a mirror backstage for a long time, chuckling and saying, They say this new face is easier to sell, but the old one is really mine." The remark rang out as a gentle lament about unwanted change and the pressure to change oneself to survive in the harsh entertainment industry. Although Billy Preston has never officially confirmed that he has undergone plastic surgery, the difference in his appearance is undeniable. Was it a necessary reconstructive surgery to save his life, or a commercial decision to fit the industry's desired image? The answer is probably locked in his heart and buried in a grave where no one cares about his appearance. But the music that Billy left behind still resonates like the silent cries of a generation of artists. Those who not only fight for the notes, but also fight every day to maintain their true identity amidst invisible pressures. Billy's story is a living testament to the fact that artists are not simply performers. They are warriors in the battle for themselves. Beauty, with a reborn face. If anyone has made the audience exclaim, "Who is she?" after only a few years of her career, it is Miki Howard. Her voice is smooth, feminine, but full of power, easily conquering anyone. However, what makes the audience both fascinated and skeptical is not only her voice, but also her face, becoming more and more different with each album cover and music product. In the early 80s, Miki was a brown-skinned girl with soft features, a round chin, and dreamy feminine eyes. But in 1986, when she appeared in the music video "Come Share My Love," her image completely changed. Sharp eyes, a sharp chin, and a cold appearance surprised many people. Rumors began to spread that she had a chin implant, an eyelid lift, to have a transformation appearance. A makeup artist who worked with her recalled, "The whole crew that day was confused. Miki's face was so beautiful that they didn't know which direction to apply makeup to match." Can you guess how many people on this list have had plastic surgery? If you guess more than 5 people correctly, comment number 2. If less than 5 people, comment number 5. Enjoy the video and don't forget to leave a sub to support the channel, so I have more motivation to continue. One music journalist noted that Miki seemed to have abandoned her natural softness for edginess, not because she wanted to, but because of the pressures of the entertainment industry. Older audiences began to wax nostalgic about her original beauty, while the question of whether Miki ever regretted the transformation remained open. In the film about her life, she never mentioned surgery, but near the end of the film, she said a poignant line, "I used to want to be so beautiful that no one could deny it. Now all I want is to sit quietly in a room and be accepted." Despite her altered face, her haunting ballads lived on, and in them audiences still saw the shadow of a brown girl who needed to change nothing to be worthy of love. Clifton Davis. The angelic face behind the perfect smile was a symbol of elegance and warmth in the entertainment industry in the 70s. He was not only famous for his role in the hit sitcom Amen, but also a talented singer and songwriter who wrote music for the Jackson 5. But behind that halo was the story of a man who struggled with his own obsession with his appearance. Born into a traditional family in Chicago, Clifton always felt that he was not beautiful enough to be loved, especially when he was teased by his classmates because of his long chin and uneven teeth. That feeling of inferiority stuck with him throughout his youth, and when he entered Hollywood, the pressure to look good only increased. A producer once frankly said, "You have acting talent, but your face lacks the perfection that audiences expect." In 1974, Clifton disappeared from the screen for nearly half a year to renew himself. When he returned on an evening TV show, many were surprised to see that his chin was much slimmer. His smile also became more even and meticulously sculpted, although he never publicly admitted to having surgery. Industry insiders believe that Clifton has undergone jaw surgery and dental work to achieve a new look. A close colleague shared, "He never admitted it, but I have seen Clifton quietly looking at himself in the mirror as if he was still not used to his new image." The audience's reactions were varied. Some praised him for looking younger and more confident, but many also regretted his original crooked smile because that was his true image, warm and approachable.
I think the girls with their nails done now.
Though his life later turned to religion and charity work, as if searching for something deeper than his appearance, Clifton Davis continued to shine on the artistic path. His new chin may have helped him stand firm in the glitz of Hollywood, but many fans still remember the boy with a genuine, if imperfect, smile. The big question remains, will he ever remember the old face? The face that knew pain, knew laughter, and knew love completely.
Girls with their nails done now.
Freda Payne, the queen of soul and R&B in the early 70s with the immortal hit Band of Gold, not only conquered listeners with her emotional voice, but also with her classic beauty and deep brown eyes. Under the stage lights, she exuded an undeniable charm. However, behind that perfect makeup were deep pains and obsessions about her appearance which few people knew about. It was the story of a woman facing the strict standards and harsh prejudices of the entertainment industry for women of color. Freda grew up poor in Detroit, where her childhood was marked by hereditary neck wrinkles, a sign of aging that the entertainment industry considered a serious flaw. When she entered the music scene, the advice to cover your neck with a scarf shoot, only close-ups of your face, and avoid turning your head too much became an unspoken rule. Rumors spread, trapping her in an invisible cage of appearance, when the truth was that her music should be heard more than seen. A former assistant to Freda recalled a turning point in her life in 1978 when she returned from a vacation in Palm Springs. While her face remained natural, her neck was unusually smooth and shiny under the stage lights. It was the first time she had confidently stepped onto the stage in a dress with a daring neckline without a scarf to hide it. It was a powerful statement that she no longer accepted being constrained by unreasonable standards. She chose to liberate her own image despite the controversy. Although Freda never admitted to having undergone cosmetic surgery, her transformation caused mixed reactions among the public and critics. One veteran critic wrote, "Freda now looks like a figurative beauty, but I miss those wrinkles. They are the traces of a woman who has suffered, but still sings her heart out." After that, Freda appeared less in the media, and many people thought she became cold and distant. But to those close to her, she was still the same person, just choosing to be quieter to preserve her privacy and peace of mind. Looking back at Freda Payne's tumultuous journey, it's undeniable that her physical transformation was part of her survival in the harsh world of entertainment. But what's even more profound is the story of a brave black woman who stood up to take control of her body and image despite prejudice and social pressure. And if there's one lesson we can learn, it's this: sometimes we have to change to survive, but never lose our soul, the most valuable thing that doesn't need to be edited or renewed. Freda Payne taught us lessons of resilience, self-respect, and being true to ourselves, something that her music has resonated with listeners for decades. Millie Jackson was once considered the most daring voice among black female artists. With her powerful voice and straightforward lyrics, she set the stage on fire in the 1970s. Millie's rebellion was not only expressed through her music, but also through her distinctive appearance, a fierce, unpredictable face. People often said that she had an unconventional beauty. However, that success also brought with it a lot of scandal and criticism from the white media. They often gave her nicknames such as too loud, too masculine, and too angular. These cruel comments seemed to hurt Millie more than the scandals she had faced. By the mid-1980s, audiences began to notice a marked change in her face. Her jawline became slimmer, her cheekbones higher, and her expression was different than before. The first time I saw her after a long time, I didn't recognize her. I thought I was in the wrong room. Recalled a stylist who worked with her during the recording of the album Hot, Wild, Unrestricted. The change quickly became a hot topic of discussion in the entertainment industry. Many questioned why a rebel like Millie would change her appearance to conform to the norm. Some believed she was overwhelmed by criticism and wanted to change to avoid discrimination. Others said that Millie simply wanted to control every aspect of her life, including her face. However, longtime fans felt regret and disappointment. One tearfully said, "I loved Millie with her natural smile and fierce face back then, but now she is prettier, but she is not my Millie." Millie Jackson has never admitted or denied the plastic surgery rumors. She continues to sing, perform, and maintain her rebellious spirit. But her face remains a question mark, a testament to the price of fame. Millie's story is a mirror of the injustices in the entertainment industry, where beauty standards are sometimes not applied to artists of color. Even the most daring are pressured to change in order to survive. And that makes one wonder about the true value of beauty and authenticity. Phyllis Hyman had a voice too beautiful, too powerful, and too sad to be forgotten. She had a regal presence, eyes that told a story, and a loneliness that permeated every song. Yet it was her eyes that first made people notice the change in her face. Phyllis was rejected by producers because she looked too sad for the bright, shiny pop market. A former assistant once said they told her, "Do something to your eyelids. You look like you've been crying your whole life." A few months later, Phyllis appeared on television. With a new look, her eyes were big and sparkling, but lacked the depth that had haunted everyone. She never admitted to having surgery, but a close friend revealed that the surgeon had only done a little bit to make her look happier. However, Phyllis felt like she was wearing a mask, a stranger to herself. The small change quickly made viewers suspicious and commented that she looked strange and emotionless. One critic once remarked, "Phyllis still sings beautifully, but her face no longer matches the pain in her songs, and that makes her even more isolated." In her diary, she once wrote, "I don't know who I am when the lights go out." These are haunting words about an artist's inner struggle. In 1995, Phyllis Hyman took her own life at the age of 45, leaving behind a beautiful musical legacy, but also a question about the price of always looking perfect. Phyllis's eyes are still visible in old videos, but they are no longer what they once were. They are a testament to the silent battle that a black artist must face between being themselves and pleasing the eyes of others. It is a tragedy of an entertainment industry that has never truly accepted real tears. Phyllis Hyman's story is a reminder of the pain and sacrifice that artists often face behind the glamour. Vesta Williams has a voice that gives listeners goosebumps from the first line. She has the vocal power of Whitney Houston, but unfortunately, she was not supported properly in her career. Vesta's appearance was also criticized as being too big, too real, too dark to be a model on stage. In the late 80s, audiences were surprised to see a completely different Vesta on the cover of the album Vesta for You. Her cheekbones were slimmer, Her eyes were sharper, and her chin was much smaller than before. This change made many people wonder and curious. Some fans even wrote to her asking, "What did you do to your face?" A stylist in the industry shared that Vesta once said she just wanted to look slimmer and more presentable on television so she could survive. The rapid transformation brought her back into the spotlight, but also left many people feeling regretful about her old image. One journalist commented, "Vesta now looks like a carbon copy of herself." A close friend once revealed that she admitted to having surgery and minor injections to feel allowed to survive in the harsh entertainment industry.
I think the girls with their nails done now.
Vesta continued to sing and maintain her place in the hearts of audiences, but her image was always associated with trying to be someone else. It wasn't until her death in 2011 that the public began to talk more about her, not because of the scandals, but because of the price she paid for trying to survive in Hollywood. Vesta once confided, "Black people are never allowed to be old, fat, or real. I just want to exist." That statement now has a legacy that is more meaningful than any song she ever sang. Vesta's story is a testament to the harsh pressures that Black artists face in the entertainment industry. Donnie Simpson was a nationally recognized face with a bright smile, warm eyes, and charming voice. He was not only famous for his role as the host of Video Soul, but also the friendliest icon of Black television in the 1980s. Donnie's image was always associated with closeness and trust, making the audience feel like they were talking to a close friend. However, fame also brought invisible pressures about appearance and image. He always had to maintain a radiant appearance, not allowed to age or show fatigue in public. This gradually became a burden that weighed heavily on Donnie's shoulders throughout his career. Around 1996, some observant viewers began to notice obvious changes in Donnie's face. His eyelids were higher, his jawline was sharper, making many curious and questioning whether he had undergone cosmetic surgery. Although Donnie never officially spoke out, rumors of eyelid lifts and jaw surgery quickly spread among viewers. A former colleague recalled that when Donnie walked onto the set, everyone seemed to step back. They said his smile now seemed pasted to his face, lacking the naturalness it once had. Such reactions created an invisible barrier between Donnie and the audience. The growing distance caused Donnie to gradually withdraw from the spotlight and television. He no longer appeared as much as before, and each appearance was accompanied by reserve and distance. In a rare moment of sharing, Donnie admitted, "I used to believe that if I looked good enough, I would be kept longer." That was the reason he chose to change his appearance to attract attention in the harsh entertainment industry. However, it also made him like a mask of himself, with his smile no longer warm and his voice losing its inherent intimacy. The question lingers quietly in the minds of viewers. Does Donnie regret those changes? No one can answer, but many have felt the loneliness and loss in his eyes. Some still believe that there is no need to change to be loved and accepted. Donnie, despite his different path, remains a poignant reminder of a time when television was real, human, and full of genuine emotion. His image, with all the changes, remains an unforgettable part of viewers' memories. Patti LaBelle was an irreplaceable voice, an icon, and a warrior both on stage and in life. But as she turned 50, the spotlight began to shine on her limitations, including her eyes. Patti had publicly revealed that she had undergone eyelid surgery to improve her vision, a decision that was more practical than beauty-related. But soon the public began to whisper and notice the changes in her face. Many said that she no longer had the natural tired look that made Patti so genuine and approachable. People kept whispering that she looked like a different person, not the Patty who made them cry on stage, recalled one dancer on the tour. Patty's new eyes were sharper, and her face looked noticeably younger. But that youthfulness came at the expense of the human fatigue that had once made her so relatable and genuine to audiences. At a press conference, when a young reporter asked, "How does it feel to not look like yourself anymore?" Patty simply laughed and did not answer. The public reaction at the time was clearly divided. Some said she had the right to change for the better, while others sobbed. "I remember the look in your eyes in 1978. It touched my heart." That divisiveness was a testament to the deep love that audiences had for the original version of Patty. The question of regret still haunts many people, but perhaps no one knows the real answer. One thing is for sure true. Beauty is not in the eyelids or youthful appearance. It lies in the memories and emotions that those eyes have left in the hearts of the audience through each song and vivid moment on stage. Patty is still herself an artist with a fierce soul and a voice that never goes out. But somewhere in every fan there is still regret for something lost. The sincerity, the lovely tiredness, the eyes of a glorious time. Jermaine Jackson was once a soul icon with handsome looks, a calm demeanor, and a deep voice. He was the embodiment of masculinity during the Jackson family's heyday. However, as the years passed, Jermaine's face changed in ways that were inexplicable and confusing to many. His nose became smaller, his jaw became sharper, and his skin looked cold and waxy. One loyal fan recalled, "I met Jermaine in person in 1999, but I wasn't sure if it was him. There was something cold and strange about him." There has been no official statement from Jermaine, but the media has continued to question the changes. One plastic surgeon told the press, "There are signs of jaw surgery, rhinoplasty, and light fillers around the cheeks." One black editor bluntly wrote, "Jermaine looks like a different version of himself, as if he has been pushed out of his past and can't find his way back." Jermaine rarely responds to the speculation. He still tours and performs, but the familiarity in the eyes of the audience has been lost. The change leaves fans feeling lost and alienated. Some believe Jermaine's transformation was due to the pressures of competing in a family of great legends. Others see it as the mark of a man who once tried to hold on to fading glory. Whatever the reason, we don't know if he regrets the changes. But what is certain is that the scars from these invisible surgical operations often leave a deep mark on the hearts of fans and the entertainment world. Sometimes the scariest thing is not aging, but not recognizing yourself in the mirror. These changes seem to be more than just physical, but also a wrenching internal journey. It's amazing that you're still here accompanying each story of pain and regret of the faces that were once icons. Now, many of them have become mysteries that no one dares to ask directly. But in the end, what do you think is more cruel? Is it the scalpel that cuts every line on the face? Or is it the eyes of the audience when they are no longer satisfied with the real appearance of a black person? That question still lingers in every heart as a reminder of the price of perfection in the harsh world of entertainment. Janet Hubert was once America's most beloved black mother through her role as Vivian Banks on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She was smart, strict, and full of love, becoming a role model for many generations of audiences. But few people know that behind the bright spotlight lies the silent pain of self-esteem and deep isolation. After leaving the show abruptly, Janet almost disappeared from television for many years. When she returned, the audience was surprised by her new appearance. Her forehead was shiny, her facial features were stiff, and her smile had lost its natural softness. Rumors of her Botox injections and forehead lift quickly spread everywhere. A former colleague revealed that Janet was haunted by the idea of aging publicly, especially after the losses she had suffered. Fans had mixed reactions. Some were sympathetic and understanding, but many felt she was no longer the Vivian Banks they once loved. Janet kept quiet about the gossip. However, in a rare interview she shared, "If you've been hurt long enough, you'll do anything to feel stronger, even if it means changing your face." It was that new face that helped her return to the public eye and continue her career. Still, her transformation is emblematic of the sacrifices Black women have made to survive in the cutthroat entertainment industry. What people should remember most about Janet is not her sculpted forehead or her contoured features, but the extraordinary strength of a woman who refused to be erased. Her story is not just about her transformation, but also a testament to her courage and determination to remain true to herself in the midst of the storms of the spotlight. Janet Hubert remains a symbol of strength and determination despite the challenges life has thrown at her. Diana Ross is an irreplaceable icon in music history. As the lead singer of the Supremes, she became the first star to break the racial barrier on American television and was a beauty icon for a generation. However, it was not just her fame that kept the public talking, but also the obvious changes to her face over time. Since the 1980s, many people began to notice that her eyes were bigger, her nose was narrower, and her cheekbones were fuller. A member of the makeup team revealed, "Every time we saw her, we had to adjust her style because she was not the same person she was a few months ago." Although rumors of plastic surgery were widespread, Diana never confirmed anything. Fans were confused by her new look. She was still gorgeous and strong, but there was something distant and unapproachable in her eyes. One loyal fan shared, "I love her, but when I look back at old photos, I can't help but miss her original beauty. She didn't have to look like anyone else." Perhaps the pressure to maintain the image of an ageless goddess caused Diana to fall into a vicious cycle of preserving her youth at all costs. Her face became a big, unanswered question, causing much debate. However, every time she appears, Diana Ross's eyes still radiate something timeless, an indelible pride and vitality. No matter how much she changes, she is still Diana Ross in the hearts of millions of fans. That resilience helps her become an enduring symbol of music and beauty. Surgery or not, time or gaze, all cannot erase her mark in the public's heart. Diana Ross is still a monument, a truly ageless goddess in the hearts of music lovers. Natalie Cole, daughter of the legendary Nat King Cole, has a rich musical legacy, but also has to deal with immense pressure. She has battled addiction illness and constant comparisons to her late father. As she rose to fame with her distinctive voice and multiple Grammy Awards, it seemed as though she had found her own identity. However, Natalie's face began to change dramatically. By the late 1990s, her nose was slimmer, her cheekbones higher, and her chin sharper. "I found her beautiful but also sad, as if she had something to prove," said one reporter. Rumors of her plastic surgery to escape her father's shadow quickly spread. Fans had mixed reactions. Some said she had the right to do whatever it took to feel confident and happy, but many missed the rustic, shy look they once loved because it was the truest image of Natalie. When she passed away in 2015, many began to look back not only at her great recordings, but also at the difficult and changing journey on her face. Natalie once sang, "This will be an everlasting love, with a half smile as if she was never completely satisfied with herself. No matter how her face changes, what the public will remember forever is not the lines on her face, but the strong will to overcome the great shadow of her father to become herself. Natalie's journey is a story of the struggle to find self in a world full of expectations and pressures. She left a musical legacy and a complex but emotional image, and that is what makes Natalie Cole live forever in the hearts of listeners, not only through her voice, but also through her life story. Stephanie Mills was one of the most powerful and emotional black vocalists of the 20th century. From a very young age, she was considered too small and too plain to be considered beautiful by Hollywood standards. When she turned 30, the public began to notice changes in her face. Her large, blunt nose became smaller, and her chin became sharper and slimmer. A member of the recording team once shared, "No one asked, but everyone looked." That caused a stir in public opinion.
I think the girls with their nails done now.
Some complimented Stephanie for looking radiant and youthful. However, many sincere fans were saddened, saying, "I love your real nose, it says you're a real black woman." One critic noted that in an industry that whitens beauty, Stephanie seems to just want to be seen as everyone else. It's heartbreaking that a talented artist like her would have to change her face to stay in the spotlight. It's no longer a choice, but a plea to survive in a world that pressures people to look good. Lionel Richie is a man who has captivated the world with his soulful songs. Yet audiences are puzzled to see that his face has hardly changed in 3 decades. In the early 2000s, his smooth, wrinkle-free skin and hardened cheeks led to rumors of Botox and facelifts. A close colleague once said that Lionel said, "If I get old, they call me old-fashioned. If I keep a youthful face, they say I'm not real." The public is divided. Some admire his youthfulness, while others feel he has become distant. Lionel continues to sing, perform, and maintain his success in the entertainment industry. But his almost unchanged face raises a larger question. Is it only young black people who are loved in this industry? And when we are not allowed to age, do we still retain our true selves? His smile seems preserved, no longer as vibrant as it once was. These things make fans wonder about the price of perfection and authenticity in the spotlight. It is a tragedy that many black artists still face every day. Whitney Houston has been a beauty icon for black women for nearly 3 decades. But that perfection also created enormous pressure that made her unable to breathe. From the mid-90s, Whitney's face began to change dramatically. Her nose became smaller, her eyelids wider, and her cheeks became unnaturally full. Rumors of fillers, rhinoplasty, and eyelid lifts spread everywhere. A former record label employee recalled, "They told Whitney to be absolutely perfect, not to show any signs of fatigue, no matter how exhausted she was." The public was thus divided. Some said, "She kept us beautiful," while many others expressed regret. "That's not the Whitney I cried for." One anonymous plastic surgeon whispered, "She didn't need to do anything." But others believed that Whitney had been forced to do it. She died in 2012, leaving a big question mark about the price of perfection. In a world that demands a flawless appearance, Whitney is a painful testament to sacrifice and the price of losing yourself. Donna Summer was the voice of a generation, a disco icon, and the soundtrack to every party in the 70s. But as the late 80s rolled around, it wasn't just her music that changed, it was her face that shocked the public. When she walked into the room, everyone stopped, recalls a stylist who worked on the "This Time I Know It's For Real" video. Her cheekbones were higher, her nose was smaller, her chin was slimmer. She looked more elegant, but she was no longer the Donna everyone loved. Rumors of surgery quickly spread, drawing mixed reactions from the public. Some said she looked cold and distant, while others believed she was trying to follow the white pop wave. Donna never confirmed or denied the rumors, choosing to keep quiet and continue performing. Someone once asked if she had not changed, would she still be on stage? The question still lingers unanswered. In the end, what remains is not a nose or cheekbones, but the story of a black woman who fought to please the world with her music and her face. Tina Turner was the epitome of resilience. She survived an abusive marriage, revived her career at 40, and took to the stage like a warrior. But in a 1996 interview, she revealed something that shocked many. She had undergone an eyelid lift to look fresher on stage. "Tina told me the light wasn't coming in her face the way it used to," recalled a lighting assistant. "She had to do something." After the minor surgery, her face looked younger, but also more strange. Audiences began to murmur, wondering why an icon like Tina needed to change. One journalist wrote, "When even Tina needs repair, who dares to age publicly, her story has become a great testament to the pressure that black women face in the entertainment industry. Tina never complained, but it is her silence that makes us love her all the more." Because sometimes a small cut on the eyelid is the deepest cut into the self-esteem of a woman who has learned to fight all her life. Tina's strength lies not only in her voice, but also in her ability to stand firm in the face of invisible pressure. And that is why she remains an unyielding icon in the hearts of the public. Michael Jackson is the greatest artist in the world, but he is also the most scrutinized, analyzed, and dissected, especially his face. From a brown-skinned, round-nosed boy, Michael gradually transformed into an image whose race, age, or emotions could not be determined. Many say that after a nose job following a dancing accident, Michael became obsessed with retouching. A colleague once said that Michael did not want anyone to see his face without makeup because it was incomplete. The public called him a monster, and the media rumored that he was afraid of his skin. But few people talk about the pressure he endured from childhood to be beautiful, bright white, to be accepted globally. Does he regret it? There has never been a clear answer. But in his last interview, he said, "I never had a childhood. I only had expectations." His face is the product of talent trapped in the cage of global tastes. And perhaps what hurts us is not that he has changed so much, but that no one loved him enough to protect that first face when he was just a boy who wanted to sing and be loved. Prince, the face that doesn't belong to any gender. He once amazed the world, not only with his unique music, but also with his appearance that transcended all gender and ethnic boundaries. However, behind the dim purple lights and legendary costumes, many people began to notice obvious changes in his face. A stylist who worked with Prince revealed, "Every year is a new face. High cheekbones, small nose, slim jaw." Those changes were never revealed or explained by him. Prince's silence only made people gossip and speculate more. Did he hate his black face? Or was he trying to transform himself into an icon who transcended traditional beauty standards unconstrained by white norms? The public was not only curious, but also judgmental. But Prince never spoke up to explain or defend himself. He chose to let his music fly freely, the only place where he didn't have to change or pretend. Perhaps Prince never wanted to be someone else, but society didn't allow him to be himself. Janet Jackson, the girl no one recognizes anymore. Janet was once a symbol of softness combined with strength, a confident and radiant woman of color on stage. But over time, her face began to change in an inexplicable way. Her eyes widened, her nose became more delicate, and her chin became noticeably smaller. An anonymous stylist once shared, "Janet is the only one who never looked straight into the mirror before going on stage." She never admitted or denied the rumors, but every time she appeared, the audience kept silent as if trying to recognize the woman standing before them. A loyal fan said, "I still love that voice, but I don't recognize her anymore." The question of that change has always quietly surrounded Janet. Was the pressure of the Jackson name too great, or did the audience and the entertainment industry force her to hide behind layers of makeup and editing? Janet continued to sing, still smiled on stage, but her face was now like a mask, beautiful, cold, and distant. The most heartbreaking thing was perhaps that the more beautiful she became, the lonelier she became. Behind every edit was a sigh that no one heard. Artists like Janet did not change because they wanted to, but because they were forced to live in a mold that was not meant for them. And we love them not because they are perfect, but because they had to sacrifice so much just to stand in the spotlight. Melba Moore, the Tony Award-winning Broadway artist, possesses a soulful and powerful voice. However, the spotlight of the stage cannot erase the scars from prejudice. When she was young, she was rejected for a television role simply because her face was not suitable for national broadcast. That statement cut deep into the soul of the young artist. A week later, Melba returned with a new, more refined nose that was more suitable. Not surprisingly, she was immediately cast in a role, and her career soared from there. But behind the scenes, Melba couldn't hide her sorrow. A friend once recounted that she would often sit quietly in the dressing room, touching her new nose and sighing, "I wish I didn't have to change to be myself." Fans feel that she has become distant, not because her personality has changed, but because they no longer see the gaze of the woman who once sang, as if recounting her life. When asked about beauty, Melba once said, "True beauty is when you don't need permission to be yourself." Perhaps she has chosen the right path to survive in that harsh world. But in the hearts of her fans, there remains a sense of regret for an original face that never had to compromise. Billy Preston. The Hammond knows how to speak, is the soul of funk and soul in the 20th century. He once worked with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, leaving an indelible mark on the history of music. However, a serious car accident in 1972 nearly took his life and robbed him of the face that the whole world once adored. When he returned to the stage, Billy was no longer the youthful artist he once was. His face was somewhat disfigured, bearing clear signs of reconstructive surgeries. Although the organ playing is still passionate and his soul is filled with music, one cannot help but notice the change. It is not just a change in appearance, but also the invisible distance between the artist and the audience, between the past and the present. Billy rarely shares about that pain, but friends say he has become quieter and less publicly visible. Perhaps he is also struggling to reconcile with a new image, a survivor, but at the cost of some of his artistic identity. Before the accident, Billy Preston was a street artist with curly hair, a mischievous smile, and wild eyes. He was the living soul of funk soul, fiery, free-spirited, and approachable. But after the accident in Los Angeles, he disappeared from the public eye for nearly a year. When he returned to the stage in 1973, the audience was stunned, sunken cheeks, a sharp jawline, a delicate nose, a completely different face. Fans were bewildered. Was the accident that serious? Has Billy chosen to change himself? A lighting technician recalls the moment he sat quietly in front of the mirror backstage and joked, "They say this new face sells better, but the old face is mine." A black journalist in Chicago once wrote, "Billy Preston not only survived the accident, he transformed into a polished artist to please white audiences. Although he has never confirmed any cosmetic surgery, the change is undeniable." Is it reconstructive surgery or a business decision no one knows? The answer lies in his grave, where no one asks about the nose anymore. Only the sound of the Hammond organ continues to echo like the silent cries of a generation surviving in silence. Billy left behind a lesson. An artist is not just a musician, but also someone who must struggle daily with their own image. If there is anyone who has captivated and confused the audience within just a few years of their career, it is Miki Howard. Her voice, smooth, feminine, yet powerful, has touched the hearts of thousands. However, her face has continuously changed. In the early 1980s, Miki was a brown-skinned girl with soft features, a round chin, and dreamy eyes. By 1986, in the music video for Come Share My Love, she appeared with sharp eyes, a surprisingly pointed chin, and a cooler demeanor. Rumors began to circulate. Miki has had chin surgery and eyelid lifts. A makeup artist who has worked with her said Miki's face is so beautiful, we even don't know how to do her makeup anymore. But that beauty no longer carries a sense of gentleness. It has become sharp. Not because she wants it to be, but because the music industry demands it. A journalist writes, "She is still beautiful, but I miss the original beauty. The beauty that made people believe she didn't need to change anything to be worthy." Miki has never publicly spoken about surgery, but in the biographical film about her life, she has a poignant line, "I used to want to be beautiful, to the point that no one could deny it. Now I just wish to sit quietly in a room and still be accepted." The face may change, but in the haunting ballads, the audience still finds the image of the brown-skinned girl from long ago, someone who never needed to embellish herself to be loved. In the 1970s, Clifton Davis was a symbol of black television. With his handsome face and warm smile, he was likened to an angel of the small screen. Not only was he an actor, but he was also a musician behind the success of the Jackson 5. However, behind that perfection was a person who always felt he was not attractive enough. Born in Chicago to a traditional family, Clifton grew up with insecurities about his appearance. In a rare interview in 1992, he shared that he was teased for his long chin and crooked teeth. When he arrived in Hollywood, that anxiety grew even stronger. A producer once bluntly said, "You have talent, but your face isn't perfect." In 1974, Clifton disappeared from the screen for 6 months. When he returned, his chin was more defined, his teeth were straight, and his smile had become sharper. He never admitted to having surgery, but those in the industry believed it. A colleague recalled Clifton often stared at the mirror as if trying to get used to a strange face. The audience's reactions were very different. Some praised him for looking younger, but others said, "I miss his old crooked smile. That was the real him." Later, Clifton shifted his focus to charity work and ministry, as if he were searching for something deeper than appearances. The new face helped him go further, but it could not replace the original warmth, the quality that the audience always remembers when they think of him. Freda Payne is a singer who touches the very soul of her listeners with her hit Band of Gold. Not only does she possess an emotional voice, but she also has deep brown eyes and an unmistakable classic beauty. However, few know that behind the stage lights, Freda once lived with insecurities due to hereditary wrinkles on her neck. Growing up in poverty in Detroit, she was advised by directors to wear scarves, avoid close-ups of her neck, and always keep her head straight. A true diva cannot let her neck betray her youth, someone in the industry once said. This became an obsession for Freda. Then, one day in 1978, after a vacation in Palm Springs, she returned no longer wearing a scarf, no longer avoiding attention. Under the stage lights, Freda's neck was smooth and youthful, as if it had never borne the marks of time. It was a clear sign of cosmetic intervention. For the first time, she wore a deep-cut dress, walking confidently, as if to declare, "I no longer have to hide myself." No public statement, no confirmation. But that liberation, however small, resonated. Freda showed that sometimes changing one's appearance is not to please the world, but to reclaim oneself. Although she has never admitted it, this change is seen as a liberation of her image. However, the reaction has not been entirely positive. A veteran critic wrote, "Freda is now a sculpted beauty, but I miss those wrinkles. They used to tell the story of a woman who endured yet still sang." After that, she appeared in public less frequently. Some say she has become distant, but those close to her know that Freda is still Freda. She has just chosen to be quieter. Looking back on today, it is undeniable that her appearance has changed. But what the audience remembers is her courage as a woman who dares to reclaim her body from the hands of prejudice. And if there is any message, it is perhaps this: sometimes we have to change to survive, but never forget to keep the soul that never needs to change. Do you agree with using these beauty methods? If so, leave a comment with the number 2. If not, leave a comment with the number 5. Jean Carn was once dubbed the woman who never ages. Since the 1970s, she has been an icon of jazz soul, a vibrant, improvisational, and emotional voice. But what truly astonished the audience was not just the music, but also her seemingly unchanging appearance over the decades. When Jean turned 40, while her contemporaries gradually stepped away from the spotlight, she continued to appear regularly on television with smooth skin and a radiant beauty reminiscent of her 20s. Although no one said it out loud, the audience began to wonder, how can she maintain such youthful looks? A cosmetic surgeon in Atlanta later revealed that Jean had undergone a nose job, not to change her appearance but to preserve her original features. The surgery was performed discreetly, quietly, just like the way she lived. A close colleague recounted, Jean never talked about her age. But once the afternoon light shone on her nose, and I heard her whisper, "I'm afraid that one day I will no longer be myself." This change did not stem from a desire for attention, but from a fear of being forgotten. She was not trying to become someone else. She just wanted to hold on to the admiring gaze from the audience of years past. A journalist once wrote, "Jean is the only person I know who can preserve both youth and loneliness in one face." When singing her final song, Jean often closes her eyes and whispers as if to herself, "Don't let it make you complacent." Her beauty lies not only in her skin or her nose, but in the courage to preserve a part of her past, not because she does not accept her age, but because she wants to be sure that the audience will remember her as a symbol and as a woman who knows how to face time with both love and fear. Millie Jackson is the most fierce and outspoken voice in the wave of black artists in the 1970s. With her powerful, sensual, and unrestrained voice, she captivates audiences not with gentleness, but with impact. However, this rebellion, while praised by fans, has made her a target for conservative media. The white press continuously criticizes her too over the top, too masculine, too edgy to be a diva. The pressure from those comments weighed more heavily on Millie than any scandal. Although she claimed not to care, she understood how ruthless this industry could be towards women who do not conform to standards. By the mid-1980s, audiences began to notice a change. Her face looked different. High cheekbones, a sharp chin, a pronounced jawline, and her expressions became colder. A stylist who had worked with her during the recording of the album, Hot, Wild, and Unrestricted, shared the first time I saw her again. After a few years, I thought I had entered the wrong room. I barely recognized Millie. The controversial change in appearance has sparked intense debate. Those who once admired her defiant style are now questioning, why would someone like Millie, who once dared to say what no one else would, choose to conform through surgery? Some believe it is a sign of weakness, but those who understand her know that Millie did not change to resemble anyone. She changed because she was exhausted from fighting against an unrelenting prejudice. Millie has never confirmed any cosmetic procedures. But after a performance in 1987, she told the audience, "They want me to be softer, they want me to be slimmer, but they don't know. I used to take pride in my face, until they made me feel ashamed of it." She may have changed her appearance, but Millie's voice, anger, and strength in every lyric remain intact. And that is the true Millie. Even if her face has changed, that rebellious heart will never be altered. Others believe that she just wants to control everything, including her face, but everyone feels disappointed. A longtime fan shed tears while saying, "I love Millie when she smiled with that rough, fierce face. Now she's prettier, but she's no longer the Millie I knew." Millie has never spoken about the surgery. She continues to sing, perform, and rebel. But her face remains a question mark, a testament to the price of fame in a world that does not accept the true beauty of Black people. Her story reflects injustice, showing that even the most rebellious sometimes falter before beauty standards that are not meant for them. And that is worth pondering. Phyllis Hyman has a voice that is too beautiful, too powerful, and too sad to be forgotten. She possesses a regal appearance, storytelling eyes, and a loneliness that permeates every song. But it is those very eyes where people first notice the change. Phyllis was rejected by producers for looking too sad, not fitting the vibrant pop music market. A former assistant at Arista recalls, "They told her, 'Do something with your eyelids. You look like you've been crying your whole life.'" A few months later, audiences saw Phyllis on television with a new look, her eyes big and sparkling, but lacking the depth that had once haunted them. She has never admitted to having surgery, but a close friend of hers recalled, "Phyllis told me that the doctor only made a few adjustments to make her look happier, but afterward she felt like she was wearing a mask." That small change quickly led to suspicion. The audience said she looked strange and distant. A critic remarked, "She still sings beautifully, but her face no longer matches the pain in the songs." And that made Phyllis feel even more alone. She once wrote in her diary, "I don't know who I am when the lights go out." In 1995, Phyllis took her own life at the age of 45, leaving behind a remarkable musical legacy, but also raising questions about the price of always having to appear perfect. Her eyes still appear in old videos, but they are no longer the same. They are a testament to a silent struggle where a Black artist must choose between being true to herself and pleasing the gaze of others. This is the tragedy of the entertainment industry, where real tears have never been fully accepted. Vesta Williams is a testament to a silent struggle where a Black artist must choose between being true to herself and pleasing the gaze of others. She possessed a powerful voice that could give listeners goosebumps from the very first note, a rare talent often compared to Whitney Houston. However, despite her undeniable talent, Vesta did not receive the support she deserved. Her appearance was deemed too large, too real, and too somber to fit into an industry that values a polished and unrealistic image. By the end of the 1980s, the public was astonished to see a completely different Vesta on the cover of the album Vesta 4. You-sculpted cheekbones, sharper eyes, and a smaller chin. Many fans wrote letters asking, "What have you done to your face?" A stylist who had worked with her recalled that Vesta just wanted to look sleeker, more suitable for television. This change helped her gain attention again, but it also left the audience feeling disappointed. A journalist commented, "Vesta now looks like a copy of herself." A friend revealed that Vesta once admitted to undergoing surgery and taking drugs just to feel entitled to exist in the entertainment industry. Although she continued to sing, her image was always associated with transformation, as if she were trying to become someone else. It was only after her death in 2011 that people began to reflect on what she had sacrificed, not because of scandal, but due to the cost of being present in Hollywood. Vesta once said, "Black people are never allowed to be old, chubby, or realistic. I just want to exist." That is a legacy stronger than any song she ever performed. If these stories move you, please leave a like to support the team behind them. Don't forget to share the video with your friends to spread these untold truths together. And if you want to continue following the video, which preserves and recounts the most authentic slices of time, please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. Donnie Simpson was once a beloved public figure, the host of Video Soul, with a radiant smile, warm eyes, and an engaging demeanor. He was a friendly icon of Black television in the 1980s. However, fame also comes with expectations to always be radiant, never tired, and not allowed to age. Around 1996, some observant viewers began to notice something different about Donnie. Higher eyelids, a sharper jawline, and a face that had changed in an inexplicable way. Although Donnie has never publicly acknowledged it, rumors about eyelid lifts and jaw surgery have spread quickly. A colleague recounted, "One day Donnie walked onto the set and everyone stepped back. That smile looked as if it were glued to his face." The audience began to react. One commenter said, "I used to see Donnie as a trustworthy friend. Now I don't know who I'm looking at anymore." Gradually, he withdrew from the spotlight, appearing less frequently and rarely sharing about himself. In a rare moment of openness, Donnie said, "I used to believe that if I looked good enough, I would be kept around longer." The change helped him continue his hosting career, but at the same time, it turned him into a distant version of himself. His smile no longer warm, his words lacking intimacy. The question, "Do you regret it?" still quietly echoes in the hearts of fans. Although he chose a different path, Donnie remains a memory of a time of authentic, emotional, and deeply human television. Patti LaBelle is an irreplaceable voice, an icon, a warrior on stage and in life. However, as she approached 50, the limits of her humanity became evident under the stage lights, especially in her eyes. Patti has publicly stated that she underwent eyelid surgery to improve her vision. However, after the surgery, rumors began to circulate. Some people said that her face was no longer the same, that the tired look that once made her seem authentic had disappeared. A dancer who once toured with Patti recalled, People were whispering that she looked like a different person. She was no longer the Patty who made them cry on stage. Although her new face was youthful and sharper, a part of the memory that the audience cherished seemed to be gone. At a press conference, when asked, "How do you feel about no longer being yourself?" Patty just laughed loudly without answering. That silence only fueled further doubt and regret. The public is divided. Some believe she has the right to change to feel better about herself. But others exclaim, "I remember her gaze from 1978. It touched my heart." Does Patty have regrets? Perhaps no one knows. But what is clear is that true beauty does not lie in the eyelids, but in the memories and emotions that those eyes once evoked. Patty remains herself, but in the hearts of the audience, there is still a sense of longing for something that has been lost. Jermaine Jackson, a soul music icon with a handsome appearance, a deep voice, and a calm demeanor, was once the embodiment of masculinity during the peak of the Jackson family. However, over time, his face has changed in ways that are hard to understand. His nose has become smaller, his skin lighter, and his jawline more defined, leaving many feeling unfamiliar. It is unclear whether this is due to aging or cosmetic intervention. All that is known is that the familiarity has gradually faded away. A fan shared, "I met Jermaine in person in 1999. I'm not sure it was him. There was something cold and strange in his eyes." Although he has never admitted it, the media continues to raise questions. A cosmetic surgeon once analyzed that there are signs of nose surgery, jaw work, and cheek filler injections. A black editor commented, "Jermaine looks like a different version of himself, as if he has been pushed out of his past and cannot return." Jermaine rarely responds to rumors. He still performs, still appears, but the feeling of being himself is no longer there. Some believe he has changed to compete with the legends in his family. Others think it is a desperate effort to cling to the spotlight. We do not know if he regrets it. But it is clear that the invisible scars of that change have left a lasting mark, not only on his face, but also in the hearts of fans and the history of the entertainment industry. Sometimes the scariest thing is not aging, but when a person no longer recognizes themselves. It's hard to believe that you are still here sharing these painful and regretful stories. There are faces that were once iconic now turned into mysteries that no one dares to inquire about. But in the end, what do you think is more brutal, a scalpel or the gaze of the audience when they are no longer satisfied with the true appearance of a black person? Janet Hubert was once America's beloved black mother through her role as Vivian Banks in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She was intelligent, strict, but also full of love, a quintessential image of a black woman on screen. However, behind that glamour was isolation and pain from a wounded sense of self-esteem. After abruptly leaving the show, Janet nearly vanished from television. Many years later, when she made her comeback, the public was shocked by her new appearance. A smooth forehead, a stiff face, and a smile lacking the gentleness of days gone by. Rumors about Botox and brow lifts quickly spread. A former colleague revealed that Janet has always been obsessed with aging in public, especially after all that she has lost. The fans' reactions are sharply divided. Some empathize, but many say she is no longer Vivian. In a rare interview, Janet candidly shared, "If you are hurt long enough, you will do anything to feel strong, even change your entire face." That new face helped Janet reconnect with the audience, but at the same time it became a symbol of what black women have to sacrifice to survive in the entertainment industry. No one can deny that Janet lost something, but she also regained a part of her voice. And perhaps what is most memorable about her is not the cosmetic marks, but the strength of a woman who refuses to be erased. Diana Ross is an irreplaceable icon. As the lead singer of the Supremes and a pioneering star who broke racial barriers on American television, she has inspired millions. But along with the glamour comes the pressure to maintain an unchanging appearance. Since the 1980s, audiences have begun to notice changes: larger eyes, a slimmer nose, fuller cheeks. A makeup artist revealed, "Every time we meet her, we have to adjust everything, because she doesn't look the same as she did 3 months ago." Although she has never confirmed it, rumors about cosmetic surgery have surrounded her for decades. Fans feel confused. Diana is still beautiful, still full of charisma, but there is also something distant about her. A loyal audience member shared, "I love her, but every time I look back at old photos, I feel regret." She once had a beauty that was so unique, she didn't need to resemble anyone. Perhaps the pressure to maintain the image of an immortal goddess has pushed Diana into a cycle of constant change. Her face has become a mystery, a question without an answer. But one thing is certain: each time she appears, her gaze still holds something that time and surgery cannot erase. And perhaps it is this that has kept Diana Ross alive in the hearts of the public. Not because she hasn't changed, but because despite the changes, she remains an undeniable icon. Natalie Cole was born in the spotlight, the daughter of the legendary Nat King Cole, who carried a tremendous musical legacy. But along with that legacy came an unrelenting pressure. Natalie had to fight not only against addiction, but also against the overwhelming shadow of her father. When she won a Grammy and proved her own talent, many believed she had found herself. But then her face began to change. By the end of the 1990s, her nose became slimmer, her cheekbones higher, and her chin sharper. A person who interviewed her said, "She is very beautiful, but also quite sad. It's as if she is trying to prove something." Rumors began to spread that she had undergone surgery to distance herself from her father's image. Public reaction was divided. Some believed it was a personal choice, while others lamented her previous natural and authentic appearance. After she passed away in 2015, many people remembered not only her music, but also her painful personal journey, a journey of constantly searching for identity. Natalie once sang, "This will be an everlasting love with a smile." Perhaps that very smile was also a part of the mask she used to hide her dissatisfaction with herself. But what ultimately remains is not the cheekbones or the nose, but the relentless effort to become herself, even though that path is filled with scars. Stephanie Mills is one of the most emotionally powerful Black voices of the 20th century. She once brought audiences to tears in The Wiz, yet she has always been underestimated because of her appearance. From a young age, Stephanie was considered too small and not beautiful enough by Hollywood standards. As she turned 30, audiences began to notice significant changes. Her once prominent nose became smaller, her chin more defined, and her features softer. A member of her recording team admitted no one asked, but everyone noticed. The audience buzzed. Some praised her radiant appearance, while others lamented the loss of her once iconic nose. An article once referred to her as a true Black woman, but now many wonder if she sacrificed that for acceptance. A critic wrote, "Stephanie just wants to be seen like everyone else, a seemingly simple desire that is fraught with pain in this industry." Her transformation is no longer a choice, but rather a plea for survival. She is not seeking perfection, only presence. And what is most heartbreaking is not the new nose, but the price of being recognized, a price that black women seem to always have to pay with their very faces. Lionel Richie, the man with the warm voice who makes the whole world smile with timeless love, songs like Hello and Endless Love, is not exempt from scrutiny. Over the decades, he has maintained his performance, but his face has become increasingly intriguing. By the early 2000s, Lionel's skin seemed almost wrinkle-free, his cheekbones became rigid, and his features sharp to the point of being unnatural. The public began to whisper, what has he done to maintain his youthful appearance? Although Lionel has never publicly admitted it, the images over the years seem to tell the story themselves. A fan commented, "I love his singing, but his face now makes it hard for me to feel the emotion. Lionel still performs, still smiles, but at times that smile looks forced, as if he is trying to hold on to something that has passed." Although the change helps him maintain his image on television and stage, many still wonder what has made an artist who once touched the hearts of millions feel the need to change his own face. The answer may not lie in surgery, but in the fear of being forgotten. And it is this that has turned Lionel, who always makes others feel warm, into an image that is both familiar and strange, as if he is living in a mask of his own making. Rumors about Botox and facelift surgery are rampant in the media. A close colleague recalled, "He once said, if I grow old, they will call me outdated. If I maintain a youthful appearance, they will say I am not real." The public is divided. Some people see him as youthful, while others feel he is distant. A middle-aged fan said, "That smile lacks emotion. It's still there, but it's not vibrant." Lionel continues to sing, perform, and succeed. But that face raises a bigger question. In this entertainment industry, are only black people who maintain a youthful appearance loved? And when we are not allowed to age, do we still remain ourselves? Whitney Houston was the standard of beauty and talent for black women for nearly 3 decades. With her angelic voice and delicate features, she was the perfect symbol of grace and success. But that very perfection also became a chain that bound her. From the mid-90s, Whitney's appearance began to change noticeably. Her nose became smaller, her eyelids opened wider, and her cheekbones appeared unusually full. Rumors about nose fillers and eyelid surgery quickly spread. A former studio employee recalled, "They told her, Whitney, you can't look tired." This expectation pushed Whitney to her limits, leading her to seek out ways to change her appearance, even though she already possessed natural beauty. The public was divided. Some defended her, saying, "She maintains her beauty for us," while others could only sigh and regret. "That's not the Whitney I used to cry over." A nameless cosmetic surgeon candidly stated she doesn't need to do anything at all. But in the entertainment industry, sometimes you don't have a choice. Whitney became a symbol not only of talent but also of sacrifice. Her death in 2012 shocked the world and served as a warning that beauty should not suffocate the soul of a person. Whitney's legacy lies not in her full cheeks or perfect nose, but in the courage to live authentically in a world that does not accept fragility. Whitney Houston is one of the greatest legendary voices of the 20th century, known worldwide, not only for her powerful voice and exquisite technique, but also for her ability to convey genuine emotions through every song. With classic hits like "I Will Always Love You," "Greatest Love of All," and "How Will I Know?" Whitney has left an indelible mark on music history and has become a cultural icon for many generations. However, Behind the dazzling stage lights and her brilliant career, Whitney also faced immense pressure regarding her appearance, especially in an industry where beauty is always prioritized, particularly for female artists. Rumors about Whitney having undergone some minor cosmetic procedures to maintain her youthful look and perfection on stage have surfaced many times, although she has never publicly confirmed them. These small changes helped her maintain a perfect image in the eyes of the public and inspired millions of fans. In addition to the challenges regarding her appearance, Whitney's life was filled with turmoil as she had to fight through difficulties in her personal life, especially her battle with addiction and the pressures of fame. Nevertheless, her talent and voice remained an invaluable gift, serving as an endless source of inspiration for those who love music and believe in the power of perseverance. Whitney Houston's story is not just the journey of a music diva, but also a testament to the challenges that many artists, especially Black women, face in maintaining a perfect public image. Despite undergoing changes in appearance and life challenges, Whitney remains an immortal music icon with a brave heart and a timeless voice. Donna Summer was the voice of a generation, the queen of disco, who brought the music nights of the 70s to a dazzling peak. But as the late 80s approached, what people talked about was not just the changing tastes in music, but the face of Donna herself. A stylist who worked on the video, "This Time I Know It's For Real," recounted, "When she walked into the room, everyone fell silent. Higher cheekbones, a smaller nose, a refined chin. She looked elegant, but she was no longer the Donna we once knew." Rumors about plastic surgery spread, and the public's reaction was not very gentle. Some said she was cold and distant. Others believed she was trying to fit in with the white pop image of that era. Donna neither confirmed nor denied it. She remained silent and continued to perform. A fan once asked, "If she doesn't change, will she still hold the spotlight?" That question was never answered. What remains is not the shape of the nose or chin, but the image of a Black woman who had to adjust herself, both in music and appearance, to meet the expectations of a world that has never truly welcomed difference. Donna Summer is a testament to a beauty that has been censored and a voice that still strives to be heard despite being stifled by the harsh gaze of the market. Tina Turner is the embodiment of strength and resilience, a woman who dared to rise from the ashes, reinvent herself, and become one of the greatest stage icons of all time. But even an icon like Tina is not immune to the pressure of appearance. In a 1996 interview, she candidly shared that she had eyelid surgery. The reason was not for beauty, but to ensure that the stage lights reflected better. "The lights no longer illuminated my face as they used to. I had to do something," she told a lighting assistant. After the minor surgery, Tina's face looked younger, but also somewhat unfamiliar. The public began to gossip. Why would such a strong icon need to change? Is it possible that aging frightens Tina just like it does other artists? But Tina did not shy away. She continued to perform with an indomitable spirit, as if to say, "I may change on the outside, but I am still me." Tina's story is not about the small scar on her eyelid, but about the choice to continue shining or to accept being forgotten. In a world that prioritizes youth over talent, even the strongest individuals sometimes have to compromise. But it is this honesty and lack of concealment that has made Tina Turner irreplaceable, not because she is unchanging, but because she dares to face change with courage. A journalist wrote, "When even Tina needs to be edited, who dares to age in public?" This seemingly trivial story of Tina has become a prime example of the pressure weighing on women, especially Black women in the entertainment industry. They must always maintain a youthful, perfect appearance regardless of age or the marks left by time. Tina has never complained or justified her decision. It is her silence that has made the audience admire and respect her even more. Her story is not just about a cosmetic surgery, but also a profound reminder of the silent battles that many women face. Sometimes a small cut on the eyelid can be the deepest cut to the self-esteem of a woman who has spent her entire life struggling and rising up. The song emphasizes that societal pressure and expectations of beauty can affect anyone, even the strongest women. Prince was a pioneering artist, someone who constantly broke the boundaries of music and social norms. His face and style continuously changed, leaving many fans bewildered. A stylist who worked with him revealed that Prince seemed to alter his facial structure every year: higher cheekbones, a smaller nose, a more refined jawline. These changes were not just about clothing or hairstyles. It seemed that each year brought a completely new appearance. He never publicly confirmed or explained it. His silence in the face of speculation and judgment only raised more questions. Does he hate his natural Black face, or is he trying to create a symbol that transcends all gender and racial norms? Instead of an explanation, Prince let his music speak for him, creating a space where he could freely express himself without needing to change or justify. Prince's story serves as a reminder to society. We often impose standards on individuals, especially those who are famous. Looking back at his journey of body transformation, we cannot help but question the right to be oneself, regardless of the pressures from the outside. Sometimes the hardest thing is not becoming someone else, but being allowed to be oneself in a world full of judgment. Janet Jackson has been a symbol of both gentleness and assertiveness. However, over the decades, her face has changed noticeably. Her eyes are larger, her nose is slimmer, and her chin is smaller. An anonymous stylist shared that Janet is the only one who never looks in the mirror before going on stage, and although nothing has been confirmed every time she appears, the audience often falls silent. An older fan shared, "I still love that voice, but I no longer recognize her." The question arises is Janet struggling under the enormous shadow of the Jackson family, or is it the audience placing too many expectations on her? Janet continues to sing and smile, but on the surface she seems to have become a mask, beautiful, cold, and distant. The more beautiful she is, the lonelier she feels. Under the stage lights, Janet remains an undeniable star with powerful choreography and vibrant music. But behind that glamour lies another story. It is said that every time Janet enters the studio, she brings with her the obsession to surpass the shadow of Michael, the shadow of herself. Songs like Rhythm Nation and Control are not just music, they are a manifesto of someone seeking freedom amidst expectations and identity. However, the increasingly perfect face resembles a flight from oneself, where every feature becomes armor against the world's judgment. The audience, once adoring her, is now divided. One side still worships Janet as the immortal icon of the 80s and 90s, while the other whispers about the unfamiliar features. One fan wrote, "Janet was already perfect." But for Janet, perfection is not just a choice, it is a requirement. In an industry that scrutinizes every second, she chose to create a new version of herself, not to please the audience, but to protect her heart from invisible wounds. Janet Jackson is still here, a legendary artist with a heart full of scars. She still sings, still shines, but in those eyes seems to be an unspoken sadness. Her life is proof that many artists do not change because they want to, but because they are forced to live in a mold that is not meant for them. Perhaps the most important thing to note is not how they have changed, but why they felt compelled to do so. Every face that has changed, every smile that has become stiff, reflects a heartbreaking truth. The brutal expectations of the public and the entertainment industry have made many Black artists feel that they are not enough to be loved for who they are. They do not undergo surgery to become someone else, but to maintain the spotlight that is gradually fading. And if there is one thing to remember, it is that we do not have the right to judge the choices of others. When society itself has made them believe that appearance is more important than identity. Thank you for listening until this moment. If you feel the loneliness behind the glory, please leave a comment and share your thoughts. For understanding is the greatest gift for those who have silently sacrificed. Like, subscribe, and share this video if you believe that beauty does not lie in the face, but in the journey they have bravely overcome.